Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin and Dubuc,
David Nguyen.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Today, guys, we've got somebody that's really close to me, and I mean that because this is Joe Bandio. And Joe, you're out there in Salina, Kansas, which is where I was born back in 1976. So, really, amazing guest for me because you're representing my hometown and you're doing mortgages out there in Salina. So, Joe, David and I know who you are. But let's get the walk up from you, brother. Let's tell our audience a little bit about you and where you come from originally. Are you originally from Salina?
No, I'm not. I'm originally from California, and then made my way out to Salina, Kansas in 2012 to play soccer in college, and loved it so much I decided to stay.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Where'd you go to school?
Kansas Wesleyan University.
Crazy, so I've told you this before, but I used to walk by Kansas Westland every single day on my way to school. That was I was a few blocks away from there, and so I grew up spending some time around the campus, and then the head football coach at one time was Bob Jenkins, and Jenkins, and he took me and a few of my fellow football players from the high school team out to Nebraska. We went to a football camp at Wyoming Cowboys, and so I love Kansas Westland. I love where you come from, but let's talk about that a little bit. So you went to school at Kansas Westland, played some soccer out there, and then you just graduated and jumped into mortgage.
Nope, not quite. Uh, Ended up doing 4 years and got my bachelor's in business administration.
You said that almost like you were doing time. Was it like going to
It felt
jail?
like that at times.
So
But
you said you got your bachelor's?
yeah, and then I ended up staying. They had an opportunity at the school to get a master's degree if you worked for the university as a GA, a graduate assistant. So I ended up working in admissions and in return getting a free master's degree.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, it was an
Go for
awesome
4 years,
opportunity.
get a master's degree free.
What's that?
I said go for 4 years, get a master's degree free.
Yep, pretty much, pretty much. Then
That's a
after
pretty good
that,
trade-off, man.
what's that?
That's a pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, definitely. I thought so. And then after that, I joined the Kansas Highway Patrol as a state trooper in Kansas City, and then realized that that wasn't somewhere I wanted to be long term. So ended up, I really liked aspects of the job, helping people
Yeah.
being one of them,
Yep.
and then ended up going into the healthcare field for a short time and um, finding out that there's certain income potential limitations in that field. And I didn't want to go back to school to become a doctor, so mortgage lending kind of fell in my lap, and it's been great.
Let's talk about that because when you and I met each other, you were doing some photography freelance on the side, right?
Mhm.
I think you were working in the medical industry and you'd run into some realtors there in Salina. And I was looking at bringing in an office down there. So, Joe, by the way, works for Click and Close. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning. And you kind of represented to me as, hey, if you're going to open an office here, you need to hire this guy because he's plugged into the community and you kind of knew everybody, right?
Yeah, that's what I love about Salina. That real community feel, the small townness of going somewhere and running into somebody that you know pretty much anywhere you go. When I moved to Kansas City, it reminded me of my hometown in California. You go somewhere, you really don't know anybody. There's no real community feel in that area. And yeah, so one of the agents that I was really good friends with, Ben Belshi, is the guy who introduced us.
That's right.
Um, so, yep, it was a great friendship that I had with him, and a great person to kind of get me in contact with you, and super super thankful for that.
Yeah, Ben's a great guy, and he's not on this podcast. We'll probably get a chance to talk with him at some point in time. Ben also he's a realtor out there, but Ben also he dabbles in some investments as well, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah.
He owns a few rental properties and a bar in Tesket, Kansas, called the Lumber Yard. So yeah, he's dabbling a lot of different things.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, the result of that great friendship, and I actually had the pleasure working with Ben on some transactions before we brought you in. We made that bond, and you were actually doing, like I said, freelance photography, right?
Yep. Yep, I was shooting images of some of their listings. So I'd go out there and take pictures inside, outside of the house, and really loved it. It's something that gets me out of the office and gets me out to kind of see some of the things that people are buying these days, and gives me another appreciation for what we do.
Love that, man. Love that. So, we have a conversation. This has been how long ago? What was it, about 3, 4 years ago, Joe?
Yeah, probably about 3 years ago or so.
Yep. Right, about 3 years ago. And that office you're sitting in right now, it was just a mess. I think we had to do some major renovation to get it looking the way that it does. And if I remember right, you sat in a back office with really no great view to the public for about, what was it, 4 or 5 months while we built that out?
Yeah, probably closer to 6. But yeah, I sat in this office with a window kind of in the middle of an office, a large office, kind of out there on an island a little bit. But you guys have done a lot of work and built this beautiful office that I'm in today. I wish you guys could see it.
Yeah, well, I was just there, so I
Well,
do get to see it from time to time.
yeah, David or the watchers or listeners.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, we may have to take you up on that. I know we've talked about it, and I'm thinking there may be going back to the home heartland episode and getting back to the grassroots in Kansas. I think we may have to take this show on the road. What do you think, David?
I'm in. We've been talking about a while. Road
Let's
trip.
go.
Road
Come on.
trip. Well, you know what? And it's we're recording this one right now. It's August, right? End of August. But what I know, and David, you probably don't know, is with the fall coming up, it might be the most beautiful time of the year to visit your home, your city there, Joe, Salina, Kansas. So you might be in for a treat, man. You might get to see Kansas in the fall. It's gorgeous out there. So look out, guys. I see a series coming soon.
Just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I love it. So, Joe, you get started with us, and you just right out of the gate, you were a loan officer.
Nope. I started off as a loan officer assistant under Danielle Law,
That's
um,
right.
who I really appreciate all that she taught me. It was a great opportunity because I could learn from somebody and make mistakes, or she would catch my mistakes before they were made, and kind of look over everything that I did, and was able to kind of coach me and show me the way. Whereas a lot of people don't really have that opportunity. They get licensed and then they're just kind of thrown in the water, hope
That's
that you can
right.
swim. So no, I was really thankful for Danielle.
And Danielle was right there next to you in Salina.
Nope, she was in Utah.
And of course, I knew that. But what a great dynamic, right? You got a chance to work with her. And Danielle, she's not with the team anymore, but we love her, man. She's absolutely fantastic. She's out there doing her own thing these days. But you got a chance to work with her. I think I worked with her for a little over 4 years, maybe 5, 6 years. And she was a great mentor for you. So I think the way we originally had your dynamic, you were a loan officer assistant,
Mhm.
right?
Yep,
And then Danielle was writing the loans and she was coaching you on how to become a loan officer while we got your license.
yep, exactly.
Yeah.
She kind of showed me the ropes, and while I studied and learned as much as I could, and then ended up taking the test and passing first try. Um, and yeah, it's been history ever since.
Well, you're a smart guy, Joe, hence the master's degree and, all the success that you've had since you've been here with the team. You really learned this business very quickly, and you've had some great success out there. But let's talk this and let's turn this into a little bit of an education, right? And what I mean by that is here's Joe Bandio. He's in Salina, Kansas, master's degree, not in finance, goes from highway trooper, and now all of a sudden he's doing mortgages. How did you earn the trust of the real estate agents in your community to do business with you, Joe?
It just starts off by asking for one, and you know, constantly communicating, and really building those relationships. So Ben Belshi, being a friend of mine, obviously knew that he could trust me in other aspects of my life. So why wouldn't he be able to trust me with his business? So he was a good referral partner early on, and it just kind of snowballed from there, gaining more and more trust from different realtors that I was networking with.
Well, let's go back and talk about that too, because Ben actually was a little bit of a rookie as well, right? I think, when you and him first started doing business, he was fairly recent to the real estate business, but you've had some big success. I know
Mhm.
Ben's been a lot of that, but there's been other agents out there. So you get your foot in the door. Ben kind of helps pave the way, but how did you build those relationships, right? I know you said it's, hey, I made some phone calls and I went and met with people, but what was it that, gave them that trust to say, Joe's the guy?
I think coffee appointments, meeting with them, kind of telling them about our process and how we do business here, definitely calmed a lot of people's nerves, and explaining to them our process of our daily success plan, and just allowing them to see our consistent follow up with them, is something that maybe they don't normally receive from other lenders, so that they can entrust me with some of their clients. So it's been a process. I mean, it's something that takes a lot of time to build that trust, but once it's there, then other agents who respect them um, also tend to give us business as well.
So, Joe, I want to ask you a question. You
Mhm.
talk about processes and systems. Our audience, unless they follow us consistently, don't know what our processes and systems are. I'm just going to recalibrate what you said. You've been in the business 3 years.
Mhm.
You were loan officer assistant for the first year,
Year,
really
year and a
a
half.
year and a
Year
half.
and a half.
So
Yep.
1 year under something. I've looked at your production report in the last year. You're killing it, man. You're
Thank
doing
you.
things while other people are slowing down. You're growing month over month. What process are you talking about? What are you doing out there to homegrown this trust in these insurance these realtors?
Yeah, great question, David. I think it all started when we started listening to Mortgage Marketing Animals and their kind of daily success plan. So each day of the week, we have a set task, a time blocking task for prospecting, and building those relationships. And,
Close on time with Click and Close Mortgage in our 21-day close guarantee. If we don't close your loan in 21 days or less, we will pay up to $3,000. If you'd like to know more about our 21-day close guarantee, click the link below. Close on time with Click and Close.
following up with them, for example, Mondays we talk to our agent partners to see if there's anybody we can help qualify for them, just being there consistently for them. Tuesdays we call all of our live deals, whoever we have under contract, and we update the borrowers, we update the agents on where their file is, just to make sure everybody feels communicated with and feels good about the transaction as it's going on. And we're always trying to ask for business too. See if they have any friends, family, or coworkers that might be looking to buy, sell, or refinance here in the next 12 years, or not 12 years, excuse me, 12 months. Um,
Hey, we'll help them if they're going to buy in 12 years, right? We like the more recent ones, but
yeah,
we'll go 12 years if that's the process, right?
you're right. And then Wednesdays, we reach out to our past client database. So just reaching out to them, see how they're doing, see if they have any mortgage needs right now. I
Yeah.
know credit cards are all-time high, right? So, and kind of where we're at, a lot of houses have appreciated, and they might need some cash out to pay off some of those debts. So just check in on them, and then also ask for some more business. Um,
Well,
you
I'm
know,
going to touch on that real quick because I was talking about this earlier today. And David, I think you and I should kind of explore this as well. What we've seen in the industry recently, and I think this has been, a problem for a lot of people, is we've got great interest rates that we closed on 2 years ago, right? A lot of
Right?
people have rates in the threes, some in the twos, right?
Oh yeah.
But a lot of these same people, they've acquired some debt over the last 12, 24 months because of inflation, right?
Yep.
And most of these folks, they're looking at, well, how do I take care of this? In fact, we found statistically that most Americans that own homes have approximately, the statistic is $284,000 in equity in their home, but they've got $96,000 in consumer debt, right? So, what we've seen is a lot of these folks, they feel kind of stuck. They've got a great rate on the house, terrible rates on these consumer debt items, and they're having a hard time paying them. In addition to that, with inflation, we found that a lot of people have depleted their savings. They're at a point right now where they don't have money and they're starting to feel that pain, right? So at the end of the day, I think what you're talking about, and we just discussed this last week, we had a customer, and we have many of these. We have one in specific who had a scenario where he had $75,000 in debt and he didn't know what to do. In addition to that, he was needing some money for college tuition to put his son through college. And he also wanted a little bit of money to put into the bank. Well, because of the way the properties have appreciated over the last 2 years, 3 years, we saw some massive appreciation. He had a lot of equity in that home. And so as a result of that, we were able to take this gentleman, give him $100,000 cash, in which he was able to pay off all of his consumer debt. In addition to that, he had the funds to pay for his son's tuition and in the end save $400 a month, right? And I think a lot of our consumers are feeling that pain right now. They don't have the money, and this isn't something they're thinking about because they have a great rate. But what they forget is those high interest rates that they have on all those other credit cards, that adds up. And on credit cards, that's a compound interest daily. That's not something that is just one interest amortized over a specific period of time, like a mortgage, right? They're collecting interest every day they don't pay off those loans. Where in this case, we can consolidate that. And because the payments are spread out over a longer period of time, we can pay those debts off, give them cash, and allow for them to gain some financial freedom, right? And then when they turn around and apply that back to the principal balance, because that's additional principal payments directly, it brings that balance down much faster to where all the debt that they're paying off can be recovered in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? So I think this is something a lot of people aren't thinking about. And at the end of the day, there's an opportunity for folks out there to fund some financial freedom. Would you guys agree with that?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's just all about positioning, right? Um, there's some equity locked up there for a lot of people who didn't know that they had that ever since, the 2020 house
That's
prices
right.
have just been climbing. And some people don't realize that and don't know that that equity's there.
100%. And then in addition to that, I think what a lot of people forget that in a normal market, homes appreciate 3 to 5%. So even if they take some of that equity out and utilize it to pay that debt, their home's going to continue to appreciate, but it's going to give them a little bit of breathing room. And I think that's a big problem right now. I think a lot of folks are having trouble meeting their financial obligations. So, I want to bring that up, just because I think it's important to explore things that we're doing for people out there. And sometimes you listen to the podcast and you go, man, this is great information. How does it apply to me? Well, this is a great way that you can take that, a little bit of a pro tip, right? And utilize it to get some financial freedom. And if you need some help with that, I'm pretty sure Joe would be happy to help you. Joe, what states are you licensed in, brother?
So I'm licensed in Kansas, Missouri, and Tennessee, and looking to gain a few others. One on my list is Colorado, probably next.
One of your
So,
neighbor states.
yep. Yep.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So you were talking about your success plan, and we got to Thursday, and I rudely interrupted. So what happens on Thursday, brother?
That's all right. So we call our pre-approved and looking folks on Thursdays, people who we've pre-qualified, that maybe didn't go under contract right away. We just touch base with them every Thursday, see how their house hunting is going, and see if there's any houses we can run numbers for them on, just to make sure that they feel comfortable before they go out and look at that house, that they kind of know where the finances are on that. And then Fridays, we have Freedom Friday. So we get to do whatever we feel we need to. A lot of times I work on my business on Fridays, see what sort of process I could get better at to kind of grow and scale my business.
I'll tell you what we do on Fridays. We shoot podcasts.
Yep.
It's Friday, folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, it's no wonder you're having great success out there. And let's talk about that. Let's explore it because, average loan officer closes 2 to 3 loans a month. And in today's economy, that's actually good for some average loan officers to close 2 to 3 loans a month. What's been your most successful month, Joe? You're new to the business, a year and a half as a loan officer. What's your most successful month?
I believe 8 or 9 loans
I think it was
1 month.
9. I think you're
Yeah,
shortcutting yourself.
yeah.
I think you should go. And what kind of volume are you closing this month?
This month it will be just over 1 million, 1.2 million, I think.
A million too.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. And we need to explore that too, because you say a million too, but you're in Kansas. Most of your loans, even though you've got those other states, are in Kansas. Average loan size in Kansas is actually closer to what? I think it's 146,000, right?
yeah, pretty close. I think 157 or something like that. So, definitely got to close a lot of those to get to 1.2 million. Unless you go into some of the bigger markets, like Wichita or Kansas City,
Yeah.
which I've been
You're
lucky enough to
branching
do.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're branching out. You're using some of that phone skill that you talked about, the networking that we do every day to build some of those relationships, right?
yep, yep, absolutely.
Good stuff, man.
It's been huge for me, especially Wichita. And Wichita is only about an hour and a half away. Um, and I get to listen to podcasts whenever I drive down there. So, not only am I networking, I'm also learning on my way down there.
It's great.
And yeah, just trying to build my business and be as much as I can be for my family.
Yeah,
So,
make the most successful version of yourself. And talking about your family, I know your family. Man, you just had a baby, right?
yeah, yep. So I have two
Congratulations.
under two. So yeah,
2 under 2, baby.
it's a
Two
little bit
under two.
challenging in the Bandio household, just with sleep and things like that. No, it's awesome. I have two boys, one named Elliot and one named Oliver. Elliot is just about to turn 2 here in October, and Oliver, he's just over 2 months old. So
And I
he's a new.
think Elliot, you've already got him on a skateboard, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. He loves it. He's a daredevil. He loves getting held upside down, and I have a balance board that he loves going on. Um, but yeah, he's just like me.
I'd say like his dad. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people wouldn't look at Joe and go, "That guy's a skater," but Joe, I've seen you out there, man. You can rip it up a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can do a few tricks still.
Now, I think you got more than a few tricks up your sleeve. Now we're leaving somebody out there. Let's talk
My
about that
wife.
beautiful wife
Yeah,
of yours.
good.
That's
Thank you
right.
for reminding me. Yes, my wife Mary. She's from Salina, Kansas. Born and raised. Went to Salina South. I was lucky enough to meet her while I was serving tables at
Go
Applebee's.
Cougars.
Yep, yep.
That's
So,
the mascot. I'm not talking about his wife.
no, she's younger than me. She's younger than me. Um, but no, we met while I was serving tables at Applebee's in college. So while I was actually getting my master's degree and working for the school, I was also serving
Slanging Bourbon
tables.
Street steaks.
Yep, slinging her. Yeah, yep, exactly. And half price
No
apple.
onions on mine. No onions.
Yeah. But yeah, I ended up meeting her there, and yeah, it was just the uh, best job I ever had, just because of that reason alone. Just got to meet my wife, and so it was a lot of fun, and she's amazing. So
Well, I'll give you that one, but what was the second best job you ever had?
mortgage lending for sure.
Hey, I get it though. We can't ever trump the discovery of the one that we love, man. And you guys are great together. And I don't know if you guys caught this. We've got some biblical names because we've got Mary and Joseph,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She wouldn't let me name him Jesus. I tried. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that could be fun. Jesus, get over here. I love it, man. Well, let me ask you this question because I know Mary and I know she does a lot. You do a lot for the household too, and I'm sure she's super proud of what you've accomplished, man. Because I know, running this company and having you out there doing what you're doing, I'm proud of you, right?
Thank you.
I know, no question about it, man. Seriously, you're out there, and I know that we're not always face to face, physically, but we do a lot of video. But the fact that you're running that office with limited experience in the business, brother, hats off to you, man. Seriously,
Thank you.
amazing stuff. But going back to Mary, what would you like to say to her, man? If she was here and you wanted to tell her how you felt about her, what would you tell her, brother?
That I love her and I appreciate her for all she does for our kids. I mean, a lot of times I'm working or, I'm still doing some real estate photography kind of on the side. So my time is very limited and she spends so much time cooking dinner and taking care of our kids and taking care of me that she just doesn't get thank you enough. So that's exactly what I'd tell her. Thank you and I love you.
My man, my man. And next time I see you, just slip me that check for the no.
Will do. Will do.
JK, JK. Well, David, I know you like to ask some cool questions, man. I think there's some good ones you might have to fire off at Joe. Uh, what
Man,
you got?
I only got one, Joe.
Okay.
I know you spent a short time in this business and lending, but I want to know what's the one moment that moved you the most since you've been a lender?
Good question. Good question. There was a woman that I met actually. She worked as a at a food truck, and I would say she's probably about 70s or 80s, and her dream was to own a house. And so I said, okay, what we can see what we could do, and she's like, yeah, I just don't know if we can afford it. And so ended up filling out an application and looking over it. And she's working at a food truck part time and things. So um, limited income and was able to get her pre-qualified for a house and found the perfect house for her and her husband, and ended up helping them close on a house, their first home, and it just meant the world to them that they were able to secure a home, a dream that they've had, maybe their whole life, and so that was probably the one thing that kind of moved me the most. There are others, some that I'm probably forgetting, but that was one that was kind of top of mind that really felt good to be able to help them out.
That's awesome, man. And I think you need to take a step back sometimes too and know you did that, brother.
Yeah.
You did that. You helped her, and there's a lot of people maybe that wouldn't have taken the time to go through and figure out how to make that income work,
Hmm.
right? Because we know, not all loan officers are created the same. Not everybody's going to take the time to make sure that we analyze everything and say, no, we're getting you into a house,
Hmm.
So you did that, man, and you should feel very proud, of that moment because, what we found, David, and we talk about it every time, man, is that anytime we hit that question, we do it often. It's specifically because people love to help people, right? And that's almost everybody's answer. They love helping one person. It always stems to that one deal that they did where they said, man, this felt great. I feel like this is what I need to be doing. And I know from my conversations with you, the reason you became a state trooper is because you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about this. It wasn't exactly what you thought it was. And when you were able to transition that into mortgage and actually hand keys over to somebody who really, really deserved a home and get that fulfillment of saying, hey, I helped this happen. That's why you did it. So I kind of knew where your moment was going to go. I didn't know the borrower specifically, but I
Hmm.
knew it was going to go there because we've talked about this before.
And David, I know you do loans too. Can you tell me a little bit about your favorite, most moving moment that you've had?
Man, it was just this week, bud. You know that.
Yeah.
I shared it with the audience. It's always it's never the $1 million deals. It's always this one was actually a 500,000, but it actually moved the needle for me. I had a young family that was trying to get into a house. The realtor brought me the loan 8 days and said that it's blown up. They can't move in. They're going to lose $10,000 in earnest money and everything else. We took the loan over through blood, sweat, and tears, and I can't emphasize enough, a lot of tears. We had the husband breaking down to my assistants. I had the mother crying to me. There was times that my entire team was talking to them, the underwriters, 15, 20 times in a single day. But we got to the finish line, and the elation and the enjoyment that I saw from her whenever she got her keys, and just the saying clear to close. it definitely moved me. I mean,
You teared up.
I cried.
You teared up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
cried. I cried about 3 times during that process. So,
Well, and I want to take that back real quick because the 8 days is impressive, but I think for the audience, they need to know this is a borrower who'd been through the ringer with another lender,
oh yeah,
right? So it's not a matter of we got it and it was you that was making them cry, right? Maybe you made them cry because you got the deal done, right?
oh yeah,
But at the end of the day, it was they had a terrible experience. They thought they couldn't qualify because the other lender had not accomplished what they promised them they could do, and you came in with a cape on, right, and swooped in and said, "We're going to do this." And your team, Chris Garcia, Jasmine Marino, and Julie Hayes, jumped in and said, "Hey, let's make this happen." And you guys turned around in 8 days and got them into their house.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about it. It's not just the fact that you got to help somebody that didn't know that if they could get into a home, they had given up hope. They gave up hope, and then you gave them hope, and you gave them a home. Right? It's amazing stuff, man. Well, we've got a new question, and I've got to thank Kalani Hooker for this one because I absolutely love this one. What is the strangest moment that you've had in the mortgage industry?
Oh gosh.
And remember, this is PG, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
And
hard part.
it's being recorded.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe seeing some interesting things on people's bank statements. Maybe that's a little bit too much information. That's probably, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but yeah, seeing some interesting sites on
Line items. Yeah.
line items on people's bank statements is probably some of the strangest things.
And then having to talk to him the next day.
Correct. Yeah.
I love it, man. That's good. That's good. Well, brother, we can't keep you here all day. We're coming to Kansas. I'm telling you,
Okay,
it's going to
looking
happen.
forward.
So look out. But I know there's always stuff we don't ask that we probably should have. What else should we ask you today?
What's next?
Yeah, that's a good one. What's next, Joe?
Oh, it's the same old thing. I think it's just something, it's a process. So it takes a lot of time to build a castle. And I think that I started with a great foundation with our process. And it's just laying those bricks each day, each week, adding to our process, getting better as we go.
Yeah.
Maybe I see something that I did that I could have done better, fixing it, and then, just doing the same thing. Yeah. So trying to close more and more loans and help more and more families.
Well, I think you want to build a team of your own out there, right? I mean, you've got
Absolutely.
some people on the team right now, but you and I spoke yesterday, and I think the aspirations are, filling that office up with more people.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. I mean, there's only so much bandwidth with just me in Salina as a loan officer. I have a great team. I have to say that a back end team is phenomenal, but other loan officers in town here
Yeah.
can help me reach that many more people and agents. So yeah, I think that is kind of something that we're looking into doing for sure.
Well, if you're in or around Salina, you're going to have to reach out to Joe, and we might just have to bring you onto the team because we are expanding out there, and we're going to provide that same great support that we provide for Joe to, to whoever else comes in. It's just part of what we do. The other thing you said, Joe, and I love to bring this one up because it's one of our core values, is what you're talking about with your process and improvement is Kaizen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that don't know what Kaizen is, it's a Japanese business philosophy that has you look at your business on a daily day to see if you can avoid redundancies by making changes continuously for the improvement of your organization, right? And that's really what you're talking about is you're learning from the mistakes that you've had, you're utilizing the process that we have to create great success, but you're getting better every single day, and that's how we're going to build that castle together.
100%.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, if the folks out there want to find you, how do they find Joe Bandio?
A couple different ways they can call me. My cell phone number is 661-236-6444.
Take that back again.
Yep, 661-236-6444. My email, joe.bandio@clickandclose.com. Or I'm on Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram is Joe Loans Bandio, and my Facebook is just Joe Bandio. So
And slide to the right just a little bit.
to my right or your right?
I think you're right. Yep. And if you want to find him online, you can go to www.thedubucteam.com. And if you're on YouTube, you can see it right here, www.thedubucteam.com. So good stuff, man. Well, if you're out there in any of the states Joe's doing business in, and that's Kansas, Oklahoma,
Missouri,
Missouri,
and Tennessee.
and Tennessee. Okay. Make sure you reach out to Joe. You're going to have a great experience. And man, you're going to love this guy because Joe is he's just such a good dude, man. Such a good person, brother.
Thank you.
So happy that you joined us today. David, anything you'd like to say before we call it a day?
No, I got my eye on you, Joe. You're a rising star. A rising star.
He's
Yeah.
some
David and I
competition.
love to compete with each other. I always look at somebody who I think is doing a great job, and I said, I want to be like him. And I just try and compete with him. I'm always asking, hey, how many loans you guys got going on right now? And it makes me better. It pushes me to do more. So
The
thank you
rock
for that,
band
David.
saga continues.
Yep.
I love it, man. Great stuff. Well, Joe, thanks for joining us today. And we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm David Nguyen.
And if you want to find us, you can check us out at realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. We're also going to air these things on all your major listing platforms, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're on all those. But if you want to catch the video, and we'd love it if you did, come on over to YouTube. You can find us there at the DubucTeam.com. I'm sorry, the Dubuc Team. And if you'd subscribe, that would do us a big favor. And we absolutely love those 5-star reviews. So until the next time, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Boom.
Wait, let it upload, Joe.
Yes.